So, about me, my name is Aleksandar Gavazov. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm taking a position, doesn't matter. Right now I'm engineering manager in Vilnius. And yeah, let's say I'm a big fan of JavaScript, TypeScript, and everything else. What we're going to go today is 4 topics. Each topic has some different. So if you like something, if you want to reuse it, you can go there. I'm going to share each repository after conversations, and you can use it to reduce. So, what we're going to cover: non-repo, the zero development, event-driven development, and of course the microservices. Why in this way? Because I'm going to explain, of course, each section. But it's more or less we have to know how to organize it. It's not just like to start something as microservices thinking, well, we have idea how to manage it. So let's start with the non-repo. So, yeah, sound like this. What's in general is non-repo? Non-repo collects in single repository, like say, in single place, multiple services like clients, like tests, like microservice 1, microservice 2, gateway, and so on. So when we have a huge project with 10, 100 microservices, it will be much easier if we put them together. Much easier not only to maintain them, but to onboard the people which will start in microservices. Of course, in the non repository, it's not only for microservices, it can be applied for everything. The main components of one non-repo, of course, in JavaScript, is to organize things well. Let's start this. How we can organize things well? First, it's nice to write all the commands which are used in our project in package.json. So when I have pointer here, doesn't matter. I'm going to show it. So in package.json, we can say what commands or script we have to start something. To start some script, to start some service, or just let us say to start. On the other hand, the latest version of NestJS and NPM, of course, provide us workspaces. What workspace means? When we have a non-repository with, let's say, 20 packages inside, it's not necessary to go one by one to install dependency. There was learner before, but those days workspaces is much better. So what this thing is doing is with with a single command, we are going to install all dependency, all packages, and the space which will take to install those dependencies will be much less than if we install them one by one. NPM is handling this very well. Yet we can use CR2, of course, but right now we are speaking about NPM. NPM is handling this one very nice, and when we have duplicated package, going to be put it into single directory and go there. If we have some conflicts or something, then those packages will be put into the specific project application, just let's say package. So, another interesting thing in package.json, we can use concurrency. This is very nice tool, let's say tool, which can start with single command everything by a specific pattern. That means when you type npm restart, it will start the API and start the client. Let's have more. Service A, service B, and service C. It will start in both together. Alright, we may have like some memory leaks if we had 100 services, but still this is a good idea and good way to do things. Another important thing is to define the configurations related with the communication, let's say. It's not configuration related with application. For example, application configuration can be the minimum age for registration. This is very specific for some service or some application. In writing variables, LTV, and writing variables, we have to define things in more, let's say, in the big picture. Hosts, ports, endpoints, and passwords. For example, the password for the database, or for example, that hosts the API, some microservices. Why? Because when we deploy this ecosystem somewhere, cloud, dedicated server, or whatever, we have to easily change these values. So the easiest way, the trivial way, the standard way, and I would say the only way, is by using environments. It's host environments, like several environments, but we are providing them by their team people. Docker Compose is a nice team. In the repository, you're going to find well-prepared compose file. But today we are not going to talk about Docker Compose. There's, again, it's very important part when they are speaking, especially for big projects. We are not going to have time about this. So I'm going to show you very quick then how the Moon repository works in a second. So let's go there. In this example, we are looking how one simple TypeScript server is started to build and so on, and how one React client, React application is communicating with the server. No microservices for now, no eventually we can develop things for now, but it's kind of starts where we can evolve our. So when I npm run start, let's go on to do this for a second, which is going to run those start the API and start the client. It's going to bring those documents. So we already have started React client and working API, which okay, and so on the date. But the idea which you see here is how with a single point we are starting the whole ecosystem. It's not for now, but it's work. And to imagine when you have like a big team, doesn't matter how many people, from small to big, you don't have to explain them each time what they have to do. They just have to really start and we are expecting help. Okay, simple then, but still, let's move on. Let's see. This. Okay. Nice one. So, if you want to see all details like from everything related with Docker Compose, containers, things which we didn't cover, related with how we can deploy our TypeScript and React logic for example, is long. You can see it here. But of course, the main focus right now is you can see how we can run in parallel multiple services. So, the next boring part when we are creating something is testing, but it's important. It's important because when we have a project which do a lot of things, communicate between a lot of services, it's good to test time how is it working. To test not only by clicking, but to automation test. And if we connect this idea with the Moon repo, that means we are going to start single package test, which is going to test everything together. It will be started in single instance. Yeah, so let's pause, because it's matters. Let's go a little bit more technical, because we are way happy. So, when we are talking about NestJS, when you create a project, by default, it creates end-to-end tests. End-to-end test means, for example, you can follow the API, which you already create a registration. It needs to have, for example, the password to string. It needs to succeed if everything is well. After succeed, you have to see is this record, for example, exists. It can be fork, it can be anything, But it will be nice to see that database connection works. And you have to create a lot of tests to see that your product is working well. NestJS, this is how a typical project is created, and this is how you have tests, end-to-end tests about creating the project, how it worked, whatever going there, and running the end-to-end test by npm. After that, of course, you have to add something inside, but this is by default how they're created. Nest is using just console tests. What they looks like, how it looks like. Usually, just let's say it's the wrapper with all your test issues. And super test is a thing which is connecting to the REST API, is a thing which is connected to the Nest instance, because sometimes there is ifness. When you have REST API, you have it. You have an endpoint which you have to test. That means you have to start this service, which is providing this. On the other hand, you can connect it directly, let's say, by instance, not by creating this socket. So let's look at this one, which I already explained. You have these scenarios where we can, for example, we are at a set test administration. We are sending the post by super tests that are which we take care about is sending some HTTP request, which will be JSON, and sending some data. And we are expecting from just, of course, the status code from the request in the 201, which usually means the something is created. We can use anything you want, it doesn't matter. So, what we have in this test? We have a function, callback, let's say, which is run before each test, before you start. You have to bring, it's scenarios which you have to cover. But we may have, for example, some shared variable is, which will be, let's know the book ID which we create, and then we can test. Then we can see this book ID exists as a response, and to be sure that it's out into the database. Anyway, that's not much important. The most important part here is typically we're creating a request to some endpoint, HTTP, and in this case, we are getting the instance of Nest. It can be expressed, by the way, and getting the HTTP server, which is sent to the request function. And then this request function, it's not necessary to build a HTTP or TCP socket to communicate with this one. So this is Nest. And after we have this connection, let's say connection, we can do our tests. Okay. I'm going to show you a quick and how it works. Yeah, I'm not very much like the presentation was done before 20 years, but that's in seconds. So let's see how we can test NestJS application. Still, we're not talking about microservices. We're not talking about underlying development. And when we have the instance, the connection, let's say, is NestJS, it will get right, then we can test the like system with SQL problem. So, in this case, what we have, of course, architecture. And we have this command end-to-end. By the way, one extra thing, if you add watch as a parameter, it will be much easier about your tests. Because each time when you rewrite your test, they will be recompiled, things it will provide you the notion like future and so on. I mean, usually you're gonna have it, but you have to type it. Sorry? So, we have to test. When we're doing it looks like this. There's totally having it. Well, what I mean, this registration doesn't matter. It's going to run all tests. As I said, do any kind of test. Do failure test, do successful test, check is the record is existing here in the database. Of course, you can extend it to much more, but at least in basic level, cover everything which you can think about. It will be helpful after you create or inject the initial service, microservice in the chain, in the ecosystem, which may change the behavior. So what we are testing here, the testing is fail because there is no email. The testing is fail because there is no password. The testing succeeds because it goes well. And of course, existing practice. You can run this is just that. I mean, it's nice to have tokens and so on, but like to see how it works in June. One week example, we'll take this one. Okay, so about this one, we have again, you have this this repository. It's makes with things like watchmate, like liters, and things which are like very complex. Okay, so let's make it more interesting. Just see them understanding in a minute. We're going to have a lot of step. So, what we cover, how to make all the things, the same number, repository, 1, 2, 3, 5. How to test them by creating weak instance without creating an HTTP endpoint. Now, let's go deeper what NestJS provides. So, when we're speaking about rendering development, usually people are imagining microservices, message tools, top services, and so on. Usually, rendering development can get frightened if that's important. When there is a startup, when there is a proof of concept, at least in my experience with many projects, a lot of people are starting, okay, let's do it fancy. Let's pick microservices and give those. Sounds fancy. We don't know why. Our business will scale up someday, so we are doing that microservices are easy to scale up to. Usually that's a huge mistake. Because when you have proof of concepts, MVP, like let's say startup application, startup business, don't jump directly to microservices. Because you need to have a lot of trust to your engineers that they can cover. And usually Microsoft better than startup doesn't work like this. So usual situation, I'm not saying always. This is why NestJS provides one better thing. It's a end-to-end development, which is in moments. It's model-based, but it's not divided by microservices, which have one responsibility. It's more like pushing some event without just using something in the middle, like event queue, Redis, Kafka, whatever. It's code-based, but pushing some events and consume it by other modules. In this way, you can very easily and quickly develop a pro application, which easily can be migrated after that to microservices. So this is a good approach when you want to do something quickly. Use eventually about people, just a mess, which are provided and Nest. And then, if everything goes well, if you have the money to invest and grow, I don't know people to decide, you can easily switch to microservices. So how that thing works? Why important things you know? Doesn't matter are you going to use microservices, doesn't matter are you going to use some development approach. There are some collision. We care. Collision means when, let's say, for now, what's named service, and whatever, call service A, call service B, which calls service C, which again calls service A, which calls service B. This collision, be careful. I mean, when the project rolls up, it will be nice to have implementation, it will be nice to see how well the flow looks like this. Honestly, this is one of the most important things when we are speaking about this kind of patterns and web linking, because of course a lot of other important things are inside, but this is thing we should have to think about. So let's see the typical flow We are going to talk about user registration today, so let's give it all the user registration. When we receive a request, we are going to validate it, whatever. Then, when we add the user, when we register the user into the database, the next hot parts will be to send him email. Hello, welcome to our system. And in this example, we're going to have like some statistic model. It can be a function, it can be a class, whatever, doesn't matter. We're going to have statistic model which is going to count how many registrations we have, and is going to count how many mails are sent. How this happens? As I said, when we add the user to the database, we're going to call this module and tell him add non-registration. We're going to call this module. We'll clear him, send welcome email. This module will count another email in the statistics module. So it's here, through the installation. With the manual development, things can look much better. It's not necessary to call anything which you don't know that it exists. It's better to push assignments. For example, when you have registration, then we're going to emit push matter. This is that. Of course, inside we're going to have the user data. And all the listeners, like the statistics and the manual model after that service, microservice, will listen to this event and will consume it. And when this user registration is consumed by the mailer will send this email to the user and will emit a new event as an event. And then the statistic will be subscribed as a mailer. For these events, the user is registered, of course we are counting, but there is something different here. We have a wildcard. Wildcard means it's totally provided by NestJS. Wildcard means you can subscribe for all mails which are sent. We don't have to care, is it welcome, is it newsletter, or whatever. Our goal here in this model is to count how many emails we send in general. So we can subscribe by wildcard. So our code will look like this. Our NC user registration business logic, which is just a meeting one. Our mailer, nice logic, which is sending email and emitting email. And something push, in this case, just subscribe to listen any kind of events and to load in. Sorry. So, what we need after we install NestJS, after we install NestJS, we need this package. Event meter, which is going to take care of everything which I said. How we have to configure it. By the way, I missed some details. I'm going to discuss how NestJS is working. Like this is not dive into our meeting today. It's more like how to do it with NestJS, what modules looks like, or what is the meaning node or dependency injection. This is like things which are more overlapped like NestJS. Doesn't matter. When we're configuring our model, it can be an application, it can be simple model, but usually this requires into the main model, which is the application one. We can invoke or enforce the event meter which we just installed on the previous slide. And to enforce some things, of course, there are other options. What's most, let's say, trivial popular? Do we want to use wildcards? For example, the starts node will consume all emails by wildcard. And what will be the separator of our messages? Because if you want to use wildcard, we need to have some separator or the message patterns. Okay, what else we need to have? We need to emit this event. In our case, it was user registration. How we are going to emit it? By using event emitter 2, which is of course provided by NestJS events package. 2 because it's an injection. That's not. This is dependency injection, of course, provided by the framework, in our case NestJS, and this is how we can emit a message to all other nodes to know that something happened. It's not necessary to write our code here. It's not necessary to call our callback functions, inputs, classes, services, or whatever. We just have to need to code event story, and that's all. The code is so much cleaner, looks pretty well, and we don't add non-business logic. By business logic, I mean something for which these services are responsible only. These services seem responsible to think, do we have malware or do we have statistics? We can develop them later. Or can think like creating the tokens. So, we publish our message and now I have to consume it. In this case, we're looking at the mail. So, we have a listener. It's nice to create a directory with the listeners because it's visually organized. We have listeners. In this case, the user's listeners. What this listener knows, sending about the email. In this case, it is involved because I'm not damaged, right? How? How is consuming the message? It's by one event and the event which we want to consume. If we change this with the registration with the wildcard, it will consume only the events. So let's look at the language we talk about. This one will be a little bit more interesting because we're going to have the whole chain events. We can see how they work and how they're done. Okay. Okay, so let's go here. And so go here. And let's start first. These are three. I'm not going to look at the code right now. We're going to see how it works, what is the capabilities which we're discussing. So, you have simple one, REST-AX, REST world, which is going to register or create administration for the user. When I click register, a lot of things are output that things that is all. First is the request which comes to the user's model, because the user's model is providing a controller which is listening for the signals. When the data is consumed by the REST controller, it is a web service, which service is automating this or look, the blue app in first one is here. Then it's doing some magical things like adding to the database, receiving an ID, and so on. And then another console, which we can see, we are going to emit this data with the ID and so on, somewhere in space. And that's all, emitting it. Then we have another one, this one in red. This is the mail. The mailer is consuming. Listen, it's consuming because this service here is listening for this event, and when the event data comes, it does something. I totally agree with the previous presentation what you're saying, especially when we are talking about events, especially when we are talking about event-driven development. This will be nightmare if you don't have interfaces to define what's your inside. But this is an example which I'm trying to keep it simple. But yeah, when we're talking about event-driven development, yes, don't insist. And like a wall. Okay, and then what we are doing, we're sending email. I don't know why I could separate function, but can't do. That is using word plus. We're sending, emitting this event like a never welcome was sent. And what we have after that, we have the That's this consuming that we are sending email by WhatsApp. Let me show you how. Yeah, there is the listener. It's listening and consuming, of course, data. And we have user registration, which is this one. I'm not going to talk about event loop and how the events are prioritized in monolithic listening because this is a little bit more just. So this is how it works. As I said, when you start your idea, I'm going to just do it in this way. Then pull out those services, lead them into NestJS. Because it's like self-killing when you have least amount of money, usually when we're talking about that. And when you have to prove that your application works. Of course, on the other hand, if you need to deliver your application service quickly and then to migrate it, this is great. And if you combine it with this driven development, that means you are going to write the unit test. We're going to basically monolithic structure, and then you can easily migrate it very easily. With this approach, you can easily migrate it in microservices. You can download this example and do the communication in this repository. So you can very easily take the chunks and move them to microservices, which we are going to talk about. Now we have things. Totally open with everything I said related with the business. When you want to scale in your business, usually, at least from my experience, the products which doesn't have integration plan, how to scale after they go on the market, are not able to grow because they have technical issues. Because business scaling is a bit different than development scaling. And we can apply this scaling keyword into microservices. Usually the businesses have a bad pattern because they don't think the cost either grow, they can't grow, and technology, sorry. So microservices are the perfect solution here. This is why I recommend first to use an environment development, have a configuration point, and then very easily migrate to microservices, which is going to provide you much higher performance. You can separate your team members, so you're responsible for seeking microservices without interrupting their work, and so on. So when we're talking about microservices, we have, in general, or in most cases, we have the communication of items: gateway, sync, and async. Gateway means usually this is the endpoint. The endpoint which communicates with everything after this gateway, which contains the microservices. The communication after that can be synchronous and asynchronous. Sync isn't so much. Sync usually is HTTP, TCP. So there is a request which we're sending and waiting for response. Usually I'm not saying the protocol is supporting here, but this is what you're expecting. Ask for something, you receive a response. Async is different. You're just saying, okay, I have registration, and then you don't wait for a response. I'm not speaking about judgment promises. I mean, this is like patterns related to the communication in microservices. So we summarize, get to the entry part, communicates with our input, communicates with the microservices by syncing async communication, and of course, all microservices can communicate between them in this way. It's your decision. Are you going to put all responsibilities for the communication into the gateway, or you can communicate between the microservices directly? Again, this was the first example. We extended with event-driven development, and now we are going to extend it with more by using microservices. You keep in mind, this is something super simple, nothing special. And let's go back to the start by this. Why I have to have this nightmare, 81 to 17 on record? Anyway, we're talking about after your business drop or product or whatever. We have gateway. What gateway is doing? It's emitting a message, async message, to the user's microservice. And it's waiting. Okay, when you're done with the registration, give me some response. I'm going to give it to the client. User ID, token, whatever. Successful port, doesn't matter. I'm going to give it to the client. This is sync communication, example. Then, after the user's microservice is ready, it's emitting a message. Add registration. Here's some user data. You have to be careful in some sensitive data, but that's another topic. Then, all services like with the event-driven development are subscribing for this message, and it's listening, and it's consuming. So we have those message icons, which is the more async communication. And yeah, this is how that microservices are working. I just add one additional microservice. It's newsletter. We are not going to cover it as a code because it took me but it's a good example of how our product can evolve. You cannot react anymore without conflict. So, NestJS, super nice framework, that provides everything inside. You just have to turn some stuff and visual package, which is done by NestJS. In this case, we need NestJS Microservices. Then, let me see how much time we have. Enough. Then, we can create microservices. Let's go back to the first idea. We have packages, we have those packages, and microservices, and gateway into single rows. And it's very quickly and easily installed by envoirnment, which we already covered, but it's a good example why we need more revenue, especially when we're speaking about microservices. So, first go, let's create some microservice. How this will be found, how this will happen at this configuration. Saturate, create microservice, and something very important, transport protocol. It can be anything. It can be TCP, it can be Redis, it can be Kafka, it can be RabbitMQ, and it can be RabbitMQ, which means you can use async communication by RabbitMQ, something in between. You can write your own, doesn't matter. You can include third-party languages that libraries which can be added. But the first example which you have to use is TCP was asking a simple and need additional services. Our system is configuration on the environment file. Then, why we don't have a tree here? Because this one can be implemented anywhere in it. It's specific microservices into the gateway. When we implement this chunk port, I'll explain how it works, then we will be able to communicate with the different microservices which we are not using. So if we implement it to the gateway will communicate to all microservices. Anyways, when we implement this one into some microservices, they will be able to communicate between each other. Let me just quickly explain what we have. We have name, it's good to have name. We have the transport protocol, it's TCP in our case, as I said, it can be different, and of course, protocol-specific configuration comes humanism. That's tricks. Then, when we have microservice, and when we have configuration, how to reach it, we have to reach it somehow. How this happens, we have dependency injection in the services, with the name which we are going to use, the name of microservice, and we have synchronous code, which I said we are waiting for response. We are sending first the pattern, which means what will be our name of the message, and we are sending some email to send, and we are taking the response. In this case, this is the gateway sending to the user service, create the user, and then getting the response. In the next line, after the gateway gets the response, it sends this data to the mail server. It's your choice what pattern and how you're going to organize the gateway and the communication between them. And that's good. So how we can consume the message? I'll have to start again. NestJS Microservices, and then you have this directive event pattern, which is like listening for some sharing things like messages. And consume them, we can do anything. Sending a mail, or just people. And then, as I said, it's your decision. Are you going to put everything into the gateway, or you are going to create a little bit more complicated structure by each microservice to communicate between each other? In this case, now we send a new, we're making another message. We send a now. That's good. Okay, let's go again. This narrative a little bit more complicated. Because we need to have three microservices and I have doing live coding because stressing don't working first time and is that for that frame it should have been difficult to correlate. So let's start the gateway, then let's start the user's microservice, then let's start the member and so on. Why I'm starting it one by one? Because I want to be able to show the dealing how they communicate between each other. In other case, I will just use you will start in there, I think we will start here. So let's see what will happen. Let's create registration. New one. Something in the hand happens. What happened? This is the gateway. The gateway is receive the request. And outputs the response. When the request was received, it was sent to the blue one. It's to see presentation graphic, doesn't matter. It was sent to the user's microservice that will have a new registration, the user microservice, just need the message. There's a new registration. If somebody else needs to issue it and do something, feel free. So the mailer consumes this message and sends a welcome mail. Anything at the same time, the statistics microservice will the same. In this case, after that one mail sends another message, it sends this welcome mail, and then it consumes the slow. I'm going to shut them down. This first see if you can see that we have the errors, because there's an information. And this time, I'm going to start everything by typing single commands. First npm install, everything will be installed, and then npm run build, npm run test, and everything goes. Usually things start not working. The first time that, let's see. Okay, all the services are ready, all of them. The memory, that's this will be message, that's a message and so on. I think this is everything one by one, looking what is happening. So we have these scenarios which is working, I'm going to send zero request. Yeah, well, I start them separately because Liakins doesn't show routes when I had a US podcast and same time the building. So this is how our services are. I'm going back to the presentation because it's really nice if you want to check out all these examples and crowd this record. So everything is combined, everything is there. If you're interested in, I will even add it for you as I had it as a book. Sorry. So, long story short, this is NestJS, this is microservices, and this is new. So thank you.